And we are live, and Joe's laughing away. I love the intro. Welcome everybody to the moment you've been waiting for. The favourite part of your week, Aus Property Investors. We bring the big names, and we're the funniest property group on Facebook. So how's everybody out there? How you going, Todd? How's your day?
Yeah, good, man. Busy one, but productive busy.
Oh,
how about you guys?
I kind of want to hear more about that, because I'm sure we'll talk about the Adelaide market, because I love ever since I sort of bought that property down there, it's been awesome. But yeah, Joe, how's your day?
Mate, my day was fantastic. I'm ready to rock and roll. I feel like this is an episode of The Simpsons and Futurama where they like collide together, because Todd Sloan of Pizza and Property, he's been at the beginning of this group. I don't know, you were like member number 6 or something, and you've been providing nothing but value, and you've got your own group, and we listen to you all the time on the podcast. So it's like it's a Simpsons Futurama mashed together. So I'm excited. It's like a Friends reunion, or I don't know. So I'm pumped. What about you, Jef? How are you, mate?
Mate, I wish I was I lived a bit further north. I don't like the cold, and it's been about 13 or 14 here today. But that's okay. And I realise the state of origin tonight. So I mean, if anybody wants to throw me the score, it hasn't started. Won't start till 8:30. So we're going to be going potentially for hours. We're talking about it before the show. But I'm very well. Quite busy, but also keen to look at more property show. You know, it's like, man, always on the hustle. Always on the lookout as to how to improve and keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. I'm all about it, mate. I'm pumped. Have you got an intro to do?
This is cool. I just like the video thing. Like, this is so much better than just audio. This is awesome.
Maybe
you guys.
Maybe you need to. Maybe there's something. I mean, it'd be a lot of effort to coordinate. But so before we get, should we do a life hack, Joe? Is that's normally the way we hack things? I'll build Todd up. Like, let's just say this guy is interviewed. I need to calculate exactly how many. He's probably
calculating right now.
He's selling a property. So. How about your life hack, Joe? I want somebody else other than me to go. What's your life hack?
So this is a renovation masterclass, right? Todd Sloan has been smashing renovations for a long, long time. Not only is he a real estate agent, and I don't want to steal your thunder, Jef, for an introduction here, but my biggest renovation life hack, probably not my biggest one, but one that is super useful, is when you purchase a property and you're looking to do a renovation, do a video walkthrough. Get your phone and just walk through absolutely every room and record it, and look at the ceiling, look at the floor, left, right, up, down, back of the doors, boom. Because you're going to totally forget what that place looks like as soon as you leave. The next tip is go so much slower than you actually think you need to go to, because I've got videos where I'm like, well, this is bedroom 1. Cool. Okay. And out. That's what I felt like I was doing this, but I was just doing this. Yeah, exactly right. So that is my tip. And then you go back and you're like, oh, okay, well, there's a massive, I didn't see that massive crack there, or whatever it is. And you can just keep on top of it. So that's my little life hack. Do you do that, Toddy? Do you do little video walkthroughs?
Yeah, absolutely. I prefer the videos to photos, just because that way you can also give it little bits of commentary as well that your photos can't.
Yeah, 100%. Spot on, mate. Love it. What about you, mate? What is your Toddy? What is your life hack for us today?
Am I allowed to have 2?
You can have 20 if you want, but yeah.
Okay, 2. So I've got one that's just because I'm a bit of a stooge, right? And I don't know if it's even really applicable anymore, because I don't think many people pay cash. I don't know when the last time you boys paid cash, but if you need to get cash out, and someone may have already said this one, I hate paying like that $2 or $3 at an ATM. So if you go to a Woolies and then you buy a pack of chewing gum for $1 and you get your cash out, not only have you saved $1.50, but you've got a packet of Chewies as well, and you got your cash out.
Wow, that's awesome. Hey,
it's life changing.
I never thought of doing that. because you're getting a free packet of chewing gum. Here I am thinking, I don't want to spend $1.50 on a piece of chewing gum because I don't need to withdraw, because I want to withdraw money. I'll go to the ATM and spend $3. No, you can have your gum and chew it too.
Yeah. and the other one is a reno one. If you're ever kitchenless, and I don't know if this is a widely known one, but done this before, and you want to heat up, or it's more so a slice of pizza, and also just keeping the theme of everything going, just chuck your toaster sideways, because you can plug in the toaster and just chuck it in there, and then you can still reheat your pizza from the night before.
Wow.
That makes sense. I'm all about that.
Of course, we had to have a pizza life hack from Mr. Pizza King himself.
I felt it was fitting.
So I'm a little disappointed. I feel a little disappointed that I didn't come up with something property related. But I was thinking about it today, and I do struggle a little bit with this. But my life hack, because I'm not super design orientated, is a platform called Canva. Now Canva is absolutely amazing. It's life changing. So if you ever want to level up from Microsoft PowerPoint, go and check out Canva, because you'll be able to knock stuff up very quickly. And it's just kind of a free tool that is out there for the peeps to check out. So that's my life hack for the week.
Yeah, the free version is so generous. Like, it is crazy how much free stuff that you get. The intro video that I do for all those little snippets and cut-ups, that was all done on Canva. Like,
check them out.
Yeah, check it out. Well worthwhile. Okay, cool. Well, now before we go to our introduction, we're just going to go to our little sponsorship. Jef, do you want to share my screen?
I can. You need to share. You're good.
Okay. Let's give it a whirl.
I'll even do this for you, Joe.
You would have seen him on the 7 p.m. project campaigning against agent underquoting. Scott is an expert negotiator through and through. Every single day, he is negotiating with real estate agents to get the best price for his clients. To give you a bit of a background, Scott has been working in real estate since 1995, and as a real estate agent, built up 3 Bell franchises. He was the guy teaching the agent all the tips and tricks to get the most out of the buyers. However, Scott realized that there was actually no one on the side of the person buying the property, and he saw them constantly letting emotion get in the way and paying way over for the property. And that's why he created Hello House, Australia's first property negotiation as a service business, where he is on the side of the buyer. In hot markets like we have now, you need absolutely every single edge that you can get. These agents are trained professionals, and they are there to get the most money out of you, which is why you need to have an expert of your own in your own corner. The way it works, you find the property, then Scott will come in at the negotiation phase and take over for you. This is how you'll get the property for its true value. He'll ensure that you don't overpay. He comes in, knocks the real estate agent down on price. No more agent games, no more tricks, no more tactics. He is there for you. Scott has been kind enough to offer us an amazing discount on his service, and I've personally just seen a friend pay $20,000 more on a property because of these agent games. Reach out to him with the link below. It'll be the best property investment you will ever make.
Okay.
There we go, Joe. So that's fitting that we actually have an agent. But I classify you though, Todd, as one. You're for me one of the good guys. I mean, the amount of I've just had chats on you, and the amount of value you add. So I think I'd be interested to see a Scott versus Toddy showdown. I'd love to see it.
Well, I really appreciate that, Jef. At the end of the day, everything that you've just said there in that intro for Scott, or the ad for Scott, it's bang on. And when I'm negotiating for a client, though, like if I was to sell a place for you, you don't want me to be the good guy that gets walked over. You still want the top dollar from the agent that's negotiating for you. So, and it's spot on. If someone, they haven't bought a house in 10, 20 years, goes up against someone that's been doing it for 5, 10, 20 years, who do you think is going to win? So, all for Scott's service.
Yeah. But this is all about you though, Todd. I've been excited all week. I've been almost unable to sleep. I've just been practicing my line, practicing my quote. That sounds funny. Practicing my line. So let's give you an intro. Let's give you a pump up. If you're not already pumped up enough, what I want to sort of tell the audience about is that you've got, for those people living under a rock, Pizza and Property, and Hayden, go and check it out. If you're going to listen to one, he doesn't listen to podcasts, but I've told him he's got to check yours out, because one of the most authentic and genuine property podcasts out there. And you've interviewed over 100 people. And I want to learn some of the things. We will learn some of the things. But you're actually a heavyweight. You're in the top. You're in the 0.001% on your own. I believe you've got 4 properties in your portfolio from memory, maybe more. I don't know. That's correct me wrong.
4 at the moment. Building number 5. About to get number 6. But yeah.
There you go, mate. There we go. We could have a scoop. And you're about to be a published author. I hope I'm allowed to say that, but or maybe you already are. Yeah. And you're also a real estate agent. So when do you sleep, Todd?
Normally at night for a little bit.
Yeah.
When do you wake up? When do you wake up, Todd?
For 4:45 in the morning.
Jeez. Wow.
It's a dedicated man.
Is that the 5 a.m. club?
Yeah, well, the 4:45 a.m. club, I guess, but yeah.
Or 5:15 in New South Wales, so yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good though. It was actually something I stopped for a little while because I had a bit of a health issue, and the doctor was like, "We need you to rest a bit more." But it was actually, I don't know if you guys have ever chatted with him. If you haven't, you should get him on. Matty Sharp, he's buyer's agent on the Central Coast, and yeah, we just ignited that again, and it's the best part of the day. You can just focus, get everything you need done, and no one's calling you. It's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nothing to do but your stuff for yourself to get it going, and get the business rocking and rolling and doing whatever the hell you want to do. It's your time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So Joe kind of before this, Joe was talking to me. He wants to. I've usually got a question I want to start off with, but Joe, I think there's something a burning question you want to kick Toddy off with. Kick Toddy off with. I want to throw to you. You go with your question.
I don't know what that one question is, but why I'm interested to have Toddy on is because you're a real estate agent, right? And you're also a property investor. And one of the things, I don't know. Am I right in thinking that not many real estate agents are heavily invested in property?
Yeah, that was actually one of the things that really surprised me when I got into it. I just assumed every agent would be a property investor. And I remember one of the first weeks in the job, someone said, "Oh, this guy came up to me and he said he wanted to do this option thing. Sounded dodgy, never heard of it." So I flicked him out. And it's just like, well, no, it's an option. It works blah, 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 blah. And I explained it to her and I had no idea, never even heard it before. And yeah, it was just a little bit of a shock. But I think it's more just the time factor, because as much as this probably sounds a bit wanky, like real estate, it truly isn't a job. It really is a lifestyle. Like it just keeps going. I can guarantee I'll probably have 10 messages and 5 missed calls by the time I get off of this chat. And it's all well and good, but it's hard to find that time for anything else and for investing in real estate unless it's a passion. And that's why I'm just kind of lucky that it's a passion for me as well.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever said, I don't think you even know this, Jef, but I actually was looking to be a real estate agent. I got certified as a real estate agent. And then out of passion for property and being a property investor. So I was like, I want to be a property investor. I'm going to learn everything I can about real estate. I got my license. I got my certificate. I started doing interviews. And then I was like, okay, well, tell me about property investing. They're like, what? No, this is about buying and selling, transacting on a product that is real estate. It's not about property investing. And I was like, oh, this isn't what I want. This is not me. I don't want to do real estate. I want to buy and transact. I want to develop and make money. Not that you can't make money in real estate. What are some of the unique insights that real estate agents can have? Like, what are some of the unique insights that you can see that you get from being a real estate agent that you can transfer over into property investing?
Oh, probably on the buying side, really understanding more about motivations of vendors, and something that I suppose is really useful is being able to ask the right questions. But if you understand sometimes the emotional roller coaster a vendor can be going through, then when you feel like you're at a stuck point with the agent, it could actually be what's happening behind the scenes. And it's always, oh, the agent put the price too high, or the agent's done this. It's like, no, it's my job as a real estate agent is to say, look, here's all your options, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor. You choose it. You don't sit down there and go, oh, by the way, you're doing this, and you don't have a choice. It's having little insights into things like that. And the more information that you can get, the more powerful it is on your negotiation when you're purchasing. I think that's probably one of the big things. And just knowing what makes it more attractive for a real estate agent too. Like one of the things, I always stuffed this up when I was younger. I had this bullshit attitude of you have to be assertive and dominant to win a negotiation, but it couldn't be further from the truth. Like,
get the guns out, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly. And it's just like, no, you'll catch so many more flies with honey than you will vinegar. You're so much better off building relationships and actually doing the right thing by people, and genuinely the right thing, not like using someone the right thing. It's actually doing the right thing by them. And then that comes back to you as well, because then when you're sitting in front of the vendor later on, and this is something people don't see, is an agent will prepare all of the offers and then they'll present them and go, look, this is Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they're blah, 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 blah. It depends on the offers, but a lot of the time, and the agent, but a lot of the time there's a bit of a story behind it. And if you've got one that's this like bang the fist on the table, like investor that's just thinking they've got to beat their chest, and the other one who's like, they're pretty identical, but this one's just super easy. Finance is ready to go. Everything's in order. It's just like, well, yeah, this person, they're probably going to cause us problems later on. They're probably going to smash us over the head with this, that, and the other. Whereas these people, they're just genuine. They love it. They want the property. And even as an investor, you can still do that. And I noticed that with some buyers agents as well. There's a few of the younger guys seem to be a bit brutey, where a few of the older guys seem to just be, and girls as well, just seem to, know that sort of difference.
Yeah, that's there you go, sorry.
So what are some of those? You go, mate.
I was going to say that's one of the challenges that I bought and sold a few properties in my time. I'm sure you've done probably sold a lot more properties than what I've sold. Yeah, just a couple more. I'm working on it. So the thing I'm interested that you pointed to there is and this is the thing a lot of people struggle with. How do you actually come across as, or how do you ask that what the vendor's motivation is without? Because if you how do you ask it indirectly? Because if I go to a real estate agent, I guarantee they're going to say, well, they want to sell because they want to sell. So how do you what's a good way of doing it?
Conversational, and this is one of the reasons rapport is really so important as well. Because if you can actually just talk to someone on a genuine level and have a bit of a chat with them, everyone's got a common thread. It doesn't matter. We're all people. There's always something you can find in common. And again, connect with them on that genuine level, but then ask things like kind of indirectly. So it's not about asking a question of, are they selling because they're getting divorced? I'm not telling you that. Like if I'm an agent, I'm not going to say like, oh yeah, they hate each other, need to sell right now. Oh, you know what? Like any price that, like what kind of an agent is doing that? And if you do find an agent like that, awesome, buy off them, because like you'll get an amazing deal.
100%. Here in Cronulla, there are agents that I 100% will buy off every single day. And there are agents when I sell, I know who I'm going to. Like it's so chalk and cheese. You can tell a massive difference. Sorry, go on.
Absolutely. And so if you can ask questions that are a little bit more, I suppose, loaded in a way, but it's also about getting them to actually talk. So don't ask something like, have you ever heard like a good storyteller would say something without saying it? So you don't want to actually just say it directly. You want to sort of talk around it, but then get to the same point of it. It's almost like misdirection in magic. It's like if the trick's happening over here, I want to do all this over here. So this is what you're actually looking at when here's where it's actually happening the trick. Does that make sense?
It does.
So give us an example. Give us an example of what that sounds like.
I struggle with that, yeah.
All right. Well, so let's role play a little bit then. So who's the vendor? Who's the buyer? What are we doing here?
I'll be the buyer unless you want to be the buyer, Joe.
No, you go, mate.
Right.
I feel like this is you. This is your time to shine.
I'm afraid.
So you're the buyer?
Okay. Hi.
Should I be the buyer? Because if I'm trying to actually get the information out of you and you're the agent.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
And what information are you protecting? How do we do this now? Because now you've got to talk with Joe, but in here, you're right next to each other, but you're not actually right.
I don't know. I think we've overcomplicated it. I reckon Joe's the buyer. You're the buyer, Todd. Joe's the vendor and I'm the real estate agent. And the information you want to get out of me is what the reason they want to sell. Or the reason Joe wants to sell.
And Joe's the real estate agent?
I'll be the agent.
Yeah, okay. Joe's the agent, and I'm the vendor, and you're.
I want Toddy to tell us the question that he needs to be asking.
No. Let's role play it. I like it.
Yeah. So, okay, Joe. So why are they selling, mate? So get cut straight to it first to see if they will answer it.
Well, they're looking to sell. They found a nice little place. They're having a little tree change, so they're looking for a new place.
Bit of a tree change. Awesome. Well, they got little ones or?
Yeah. Little family of two. This is a 2-bedder and 2 kids are, it's not really going to be, it served them. And now it's just, they're looking to move on.
Just way too much space for them at the moment, or too little space. Sorry.
Not enough space. Exactly. Yeah.
Not enough space. Yeah. The opposite. Okay. And so where are they going to? Do you know? Have they bought a place yet?
Yeah. So they're going to the Blue Mountains.
They're going to Blue Mountains.
Yeah.
Awesome. And they've already got it now, or they're still looking?
They're still looking.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. And what kind of settlement period are they looking for?
What for this property? There's no big there's no big rush. There's no big rush.
No big rush. Okay, cool. Yeah. So they're open to like a subject to sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. And have you had many offers on the property already?
No, not yet. No offers yet. No.
No offers yet.
Wait, I'm a real estate agent. Wait.
Come on, mate. You're going to tell them that you've got 10 offers already. Come on.
I'm not. I don't want to be. I want to learn the good stuff. You're already grilling. I feel like I'm on trial. Is this what it feels like?
Okay. This is the point, and this is what will happen, right? So what I'm trying to do is actually, and maybe a role play was a terrible idea. I shouldn't have jumped into this.
No, it was lovely. I loved it. I love a bit of spontaneous. That's why. Yeah.
But what I'm trying to do with this is just pull out little bits of information, so then I can put together the picture later on of why they're really selling. I want to find out their true motivation, their time motivation, what they're actually wanting to do. I want to try and find out as much as I can from you around really what I really think is the reason behind it. So if I'm walking around the house and you're saying that it's kids, it's this kind of stuff, and then I'm looking in there and there's only guys' clothes in the wardrobe, there's no girls' clothes in there, there's no children's toys anywhere, even if they're packed up in the cupboards, like they're just not there. I'm looking at this in a little bit of a different light. And I'm trying to just get information out of you. And this is why it's probably a little bit hard to do this, because, again, this is something that Scott actually said when I interviewed him, is about setting it up from the very first conversation. Because when you're talking then, and one of the negotiation tricks he was saying about saying, oh, look, there's another property. To just jump that in when you're negotiating, it's not really believed. But if you can actually set that up the first time you speak, and then later on, I'm going to then come back and test Joe later on, because Joe's going to speak to between 30 and 100 people every single day. And I don't trust him. No, I do trust you, Joe, but I did the scenario, Joe. I don't trust him. He's going to be talking to that many people. I'm going to then ask him the exact same questions again to see if he gives me the same answers or if he gives me different answers. Look for where the discrepancy is in these answers, because if you can then find, now all of a sudden they're not going to the Blue Mountains, now all of a sudden, or they don't even have kids anymore. It's you know what I mean? Start looking at these things without actually asking the question directly, because if you ask the question directly, you're going to get a direct response that has been carved out and that's probably not true. I'm not going to say that of all agents, because there's a lot of wonderful agents out there as well, but their job is to protect the vendor. So yeah, I went that in a real ass about face way. That took about 10 minutes and it should have taken about 3.
Well, that's what Adam Maney's saying. He's saying, when does the porn start? I'm like, I don't know, Adam. What is this the kind of porn that you watch? Do you watch porn with 3 blokes? I mean, that's okay if you do. Let's have a. Anyway,
I can't see the feed.
Do I see it? Yeah, no, sorry. Maybe it's only for the host. But anyway, so.
Oh no, comments. Gotcha.
Yeah, there you go. It's on fire. Okay, cool. But you only
what are some of those things, right? Like you started asking me about location. So that's a key. That must be a point, right? When have they already bought another place? How valuable is that information as a buyer? Like, is that something crucial that I need to understand?
Yeah, so to me, that's pretty valuable, because then it sets up their position of, is there actually a bit more time pressure? Because if they've already bought a place, then I'm really going to be emphasizing that I can settle in 30 days. I can settle in whatever they want. And that's something that when the agent goes, oh, yeah, we're flexible, whatever, I'm thinking, oh, I don't think they are as flexible. And maybe they are in a financial position where they've got bridging or they can actually afford to take 2 places at once. Totally could happen. That's a legit. But it's not as feasible. Most people don't want to have 2 mortgages at the same time. They want one of those.
Yeah, that was a first on Aus Property Investors, and I think that was super valuable for people to, when they're going through this conversation, because actually think about the type of conversation you want to have. So, Joe, I'd love to change gears a little bit and talk about. We'd love to sort of find out about how you got started in property. So, what was? Tell us about the first property you bought, Todd, and how did it all go?
I don't know. I don't know if we want to start with property investment. I want to hear first about how you got into property to start with. Or what came first, the chicken or the egg? Anything.
Well,
property.
Okay, so the story is it actually goes back to when I was younger. I went to film school and I was producing a show for, it was actually about cars, which I'm not a car person, so it's kind of ironic, but basically, I pitched this to all of these different networks. None of them wanted it. I got sponsorship from Mitsubishi and Australian Driving Institute. They were great, but no one wanted to pay me in money. They just wanted to pay me in kind sponsorship, that kind of stuff. And so I went, screw it, I'm going to the mines and I'm going to pay for this show myself. And I was never a reader. And I still remember laughing at the lady when I bought a book and she's like, do you want to join the book club? And I'm like, no. And I joined the book club the next week because I made this promise to myself that I didn't want to drink when I was up in the mines, because I just heard all these stories of people making money, but then just pissing it away sort of thing. So I ended up reading Donald Trump's book. It was 101. And this is before Trump is who he is now. This was when he was more of like a respected real estate developer. And love him or hate him, whatever that book opened up my eyes to the media industry at that stage. The way I saw it was you either make it huge or you eat beans on toast for the rest of your life. Now, I didn't really like that. It was one of the things I thought, this doesn't really sit right with me. And we talked about real estate, and then I picked up Steve McKnight's book, the second book I ever read, 0 to 260 Properties in 7 Years. And that just sparked something in me. I was like, this is brilliant. Didn't take any of his advice, stupidly. I just went around with the best of intentions, like reading one book. It's like, some people read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and then give financial advice to everyone. It's like, love your enthusiasm, but calm down. I was that kid. So I bought an apartment in the city. If I'm really honest, it was to impress a girl, and it worked, but realistically, I could have just hired it because it was actually a hotel. So I probably, benefit of hindsight, shouldn't have bought it.
Oh, geez. Maybe the point about to start now.
Yeah. But anyway, I had that for like 10 years. I lived in it for 7 years. Wonderful lifestyle.
Wow.
But I had an accident on a drill rig and I couldn't walk properly for like 4 years. So this is the bit that I sort of fast forward through. I can go into detail if you want, but it's not a fun part of the story. Basically, I just completely fell off. I had massive depression. I refer to them as my professional alcoholic years because I refused to take pain medication. I had 3 bulging discs between my T6 and T11 and 2 facet joints out of place. So I couldn't walk properly. And I was just a lot of fun to be around when I was drunk, but otherwise I was a miserable, not good person. But anyway, then I finally met a doctor that actually fixed it. And then I walked from Adelaide to Melbourne, and I wasn't allowed back on a drill rig after that, or before that anyway. And I was like, well, what do I do? And I thought, well, let's get into property. And it was actually my dad that got me into it, because I said, and really truly, like I said, every experience I had with an agent was a pretty negative one. And I said, I don't want to be like some douchebag real estate agent. He's like, well, how about you be a real estate agent and just don't be a douchebag? I was like, okay, I'll give that a go. And 7 years later, or 6.5 years later now, with real estate sales, here we are.
Wow, that's a cool story. I think you should write a book about
that. One day. Yeah, one book at a time, Jeff. Books are a lot harder than I thought.
Oh, tell me about it. I can imagine.
Yeah. Well, that's I don't even know where to go with that, man. It's a crazy story. Donald Trump to kick it all off of all things.
Yeah, I almost feel a little bit dirty about saying that, but it's,
No, don't feel dirty. I mean, I say what you want about Trumpy as a person. I completely I don't necessarily endorse all the stuff that he's any of the stuff he's done, but I would want to say that as a business person, it seems like he does okay. So I mean, I think there's something in what he's done. So I can see the attraction to his book. Questionable morals and ethics. But anyway, so Joe, next question. Enough about Trump. Well,
where do we want to take this? Because I think you have a vast experience in renovation. I think that's going to be the next best place to kick this bad boy off. I wanted to start with maybe a bit of a curly one, but what are some of the myths that you want to debunk? Like, can you see going around about renovation that you want to? Are there any myths about renovation that you'd like to debunk?
The biggest one is just what they do in the block, which I'm assuming everyone listening to your show right now is probably already know this. So I'll fast forward through this one really quickly. And I've said it before, pretty isn't profit. It's not. I actually want to get a big neon sign made up on my wall that says exactly that, because I sell houses to people that think pretty is profit. And I sell renovators to first-time renovators that think, I'll do all this amazing stuff, and they overcapitalize and they don't make money. And it's, we have a bit of a giggle, but it's actually quite a sad story to see someone put in so much work, time, effort, all the rest of it, and get nothing out of it. So, but I think the other thing, if there was...
That is a good one. That is, yeah.
That's an actionable insight, Joe. Let's chop that one up.
You have another one for us?
The other one, I don't know. I don't really know if they're it's a myth, but doing it with your partner, like they make it sound fun and everything. And I don't know if you boys have done it with your partners, but I've done it with a few, and I didn't find it that fun. It was more arguments. There's more stress on the relationship. It's like you both got different styles of doing things. And maybe like Bianca, I probably could renovate a place with her. I've got a very different relationship, but I don't think taking it on together is a good idea from my own personal experience.
Okay.
If it's not fun, you're not doing it right, Todd. We'll talk.
Yeah,
we'll talk about renovating. No. I just couldn't help myself there. You're talking about doing it with your partner, and I know you're talking about renovating, but I just love it. We're going in all directions. No, that's I thought you were talking about. I thought you were talking about apartments rather than partners there. What are your thoughts? Because you've done a couple of renos. I don't know if you've done a reno on an apartment. What are your thoughts on renovating an apartment? Have you ever done it, or have you seen? Do you think it works, or do you think it's a terrible idea?
I think for something like that to work, you'd really have to be really around someone like Chris Gray or Jack Henderson's strategy about really buying apartments that are scarce, because if you don't have that scarcity factor, there's no point in renovating. It'd be the equivalent of renovating a house in a suburb where there's like a new division going up. And you've got, let's say it's a 20-year-old house on a 350 square meter block, 3-bed, 2-bath, and you bring it up to a nice standard, when someone can just build a brand new one down the road, like 100 meters. Like, who cares? So I'd say it just depends on where that apartment is.
Yeah, I feel like it has a lot to do. Like apartments, I think there is like, I mean, you're in Adelaide, which doesn't even have one apartment. I'm sure it's got one.
So, have you been to Adelaide? Yeah, I'm steady on.
Yeah, no, we call it Radelaide down.
I love Adelaide. Yeah,
it's beautiful, but I do think there's a lot of potential in apartments, and people have made a whole heap of money from it. But it's a little bit challenging when it's now an entry price of $800,000, $900,000, and the next, like if the gap, like we talk about the gap of renovated versus unrenovated, it's really if it's not in a colder market and there's not a wide gap, and it's very hard to make money in an apartment renovation to be flipping. Now that's what I'm talking about. Like I think in the flipping side of things, if it's buy, renovate, hold, if you can release your deposit that you put in, absolutely, go wild, get it done. But anyway, this isn't about me. This is about you, Toddy.
Yeah. Well, I think if you were to do maybe like a deed of assignment or something like that instead, that could potentially work if you're wanting to flip them. But that's a far more advanced and kind of riskier strategy. And to get someone on board with that, you more than likely have to be getting it off market and sidestepping the agent. Because as soon as you say things like options, deeds of assignment, any of that, and then you get an agent involved, not many agents are going to be for that.
Because there's a risk they might not get paid.
It's a bit of that, but then, yeah, I mean, that is a part of it, but it's also, like we were circling back before, a lack of understanding. When something just you don't understand, it's just like, all right, we'll just stay away and let's just go to buy A that just wants to buy it.
Keep it simple. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, because you could do 3 deals in the time it takes 1 deal.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Okay, well let's jump into the renovation side of things, because I know this is what you love the most. What in your, you've done 4, 5, 6 renovations. What are some of the things that you wish you knew in your journey along the way?
Wish I knew. Organization from the very, very first one, because the first one was an apartment. And that was just more so because, it wasn't looked after and needed to get freshened up, and it was in the Oaks Hotel scheme while I was putting it in the Oaks Hotel scheme. But so then the second one was a regional renovation. I actually just got that revowed today, actually. So that one did all right. I've put this a little bit of a breakdown in my vlog. So this was after I sold the apartment. It's the only property I've ever sold of my own. I've sold a lot of other ones, but of mine, because I felt there was nothing I could do to it. Couldn't subdivide it, couldn't renovate it. I couldn't add value. And then I'd been fortunate enough to have a front seat to a lot of people that unfortunately hadn't done that well with renovating and backed themselves into a corner. So I wanted to do this in a very slow, secure way. And I thought, well, I'm just going to get a regional property. And I don't know if I ever talked about this deal with you guys, but I bought it for $62,000. And it was basically a house that was trucked in on a block of land. So just the land itself, I can't remember what it was now. I could look it up on RP data, but sold for something like, I think it was $50,000 or $60,000 before the house was on it. And now they've put a 3-bed, 2-bath house on there. And then I needed to connect the water, connect the power. I actually need to put a power pole in at the front, and I need to put a septic tank in, and just do a light reno to the actual property. And that one, the biggest thing that I stuffed up there was the paperwork. And it was just not being organized, going all the way out to Piri, which was a 6-hour round trip, and forgetting something dumb like a pick or a shovel. And it's like I'm trying to do gardening work, like digging with my hands. It's just dumb stuff. So now I'm very organized with it. Pardon?
There's no hardware store in Piri though?
Yeah, there is a hardware store there, but they were closed on a Sunday.
Oh, okay. Oh,
so I'd have to drive up there, and it's a country town. Like this isn't like it's not.
There's not much.
So organisation.
Organisation, big time. So now I do sticky note timelines on the wall, and then I translate that into a Gantt chart, and then that gives me my work packs, what I need to bring, when I'm doing it, what trades I'm organising, and it makes a lot more sense now. And the other thing that I learned with that was things that are out of your control. Like they privatized meter readers partway through the project, so it actually I didn't have any power, even though I had a power pole put in, but I didn't actually have any power to the property for 6 months, even though it was all there, but they were figuring out all of the red tape of how that was going to work. You look back and I think it was July 2017.
So you bought a property and 6 months it was vacant, just empty with no rent coming in.
Correct. And that's why, again, I was so lucky that it was 65 grand or 62 grand, sorry. Because I did a cashback like you did. I was 65 grand, but then negotiated down again.
2 grand. Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, it didn't matter because it was literally like, just don't buy coffees that week or whatever. It's a $62,000 mortgage. It's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So essentially you bought a plot of land that you were trying to rent out. I mean, that's what we're all trying to do, but I feel like that's what that thing was. It was just a little we call them tiny homes now. Apparently they're an in thing, but you just plop it on there and you're hoping for some rent. So did you end up renting it in the end?
Yeah, absolutely. So I rented out. It was a 3-bed, 2-bath, so it wasn't actually a tiny home. It's still 120 square meter home, so it is a smaller home, but it's not that tiny. But yeah, and I spent 30 on it, so I was up to 92,000. The first reval was 125, then 150, and it just got revalued again today for 177. So it's done all right as far as pulling out some equity, and it rents out for $245 a week.
Hey,
that's a crazy yield. What yield is that?
Yeah.
Well, I guess yield on 60.
On the original, Joe. So you do let's just say 200, 2 times 5, 10,000 divided by 6. That's a yield of about 13.5%.
Yeah. Well, if you take into account the other 30 that I had to spend and pull it back up to 92, I've actually just got figures next to me. It's 11.7% apparently. Well, that was at 225 though, because it was renting for 225 when I did that. What's the
rent? Oh, yeah. I always calculate my yield based on the initial purchase price and then I suppose,
What about the cash you enter?
Yeah, well, I just look at purchase price. Keep it simple, Joe. But Todd's just done he's done a fantastic series with Luke on this. You should check that out. Drop that in the on feasibilities. That was about yields and all that. That was
nice. You have a little cheat sheet with it as well, I think.
Yeah, we're actually still putting together the other ones because that's going to be released as one whole big booklet. So it's going to be all 4 pages, and lots of stuff happening at the moment with that.
So the question I wanted to ask around, or that I want to ask around that is, people are thinking, okay, great, you bought a property for 62K, and it's now worth 170 odd K. How did you decide that was the property that you want? What was the strategy there? Obviously, it was renovation, but what was the rationale behind that?
So a few things. One, just low entry cost. So if I absolutely stuffed it up, I was okay. And 2 was value add. I looked at that, and I looked at all of the other comp sales, which at the time were around that 130 mark.
Yep.
And I just thought I can't really go wrong with this. This means I've got something like $70,000 to play with to just break even. Like if I spent 70 on it, I should still be able to safely get it revalued and walk away okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Super powerful. So go on, Joe.
I might be chopping and change a little bit around like where the flow of this is going, but you've talked a lot about seeing people mess up. What do people mess up on? What are some of the areas what are the big areas that you see people do as a real estate agent when they are renovating a property?
It's where that pretty isn't profit saying comes from. People overcapitalizing, like people will spend $25,000 on a kitchen when $8,000 would have been more than sufficient. And you see, and again, with the couple thing, and this isn't just my experience, but this is also seeing couples afterwards, like financial stress, I think, is one of the biggest causes of divorce. And putting a renovation mix of that, it doesn't bode well. And plus, I've also seen people where they've actually had a life situation change around. They've either had a kid or maybe they've lost their job. I've been to a few where they've lost their job partway through the reno, and they had to sell, and they had to sell it half renovated, which, as everyone listening, is a golden opportunity. You can buy that. You know that they're a motivated seller. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not listening to anything like that right now, but I mean, it's a great one to buy, but not a good position to be in to sell.
Yeah. Okay. Any other kind of tips and tricks that come up for you, like in that agent space? Like, where do people mess up renovations? Because I'm trying to think back to what I messed up with. Actually, one of the things that I messed up. What are your views on buyers agents? That's what I would like to. We've got a question here that talks about it. But one of my messes ups was dealing with a buyer's agent. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's awesome. So what are my thoughts? Everyone should use them.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Why? Yeah, everyone. I don't know why. Unless you've actually got a lot of experience, you actually know what you're doing. It was actually Luke Bailey, I think, that put it perfectly. It was, I think, what was his reference about basketball? If you haven't played basketball in 20 years and you're about to jump on the court with someone that was a professional basketball player, how do you think you're going? Yeah. How do you think you'd go in a game of one-on-one? And obviously the answer is like you'd get beaten. It's not going to work.
I'd probably go right against Jordan because he's in his 60s now. So I reckon I could probably over time. I reckon he'd wear me down, but I'd probably run rings around him. I wouldn't be able to get the ball in the hoop, but anyway, yeah, no, I'm not.
That's kind of the point of basketball.
Yeah, you're not winning there.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think it just makes sense on the negotiation side, on the sourcing side, on so many different fronts. Like the amount of deals also that you see can fall apart through a settlement that you're not privy to as a public. You don't see that kind of stuff. You don't see the difference in signing a contract that I don't know, let's say it's actually a deceased estate and it's not subject to probate in there. What's that going to actually mean? Have you found that out? Do you know anything about that? Like if your Form 1 isn't servable in South Australia, like it's what? Yeah, there's too many little nuances, but this is the whole purpose of it. Is there are so many different detailed little things that a buyer's agent or a good buyer's agent will know, and they'll be able to hold your hand through that. I know if I'm negotiating against someone, like I've sold to a lot of the guys that I've had on the show as well. And I try some of the tactics on them, and they just come back with like, "Come on, Todd, like it's not going to happen," and they know it straight away. And it's like, good, I'm still going to try it because maybe, and I'm working for my vendor. It's what I'm doing. But if I did that on just I don't know a 35-year-old dude that hasn't ever bought a property before, it's probably going to work, and I'm probably going to get another 5, 10, 20 grand.
Yeah,
it's.
What are some of the questions? What are some of the questions that a good buyer's agent asks to get the truth? Not so much the truth, but to get the right. What are the right questions to be asking real estate agents? This is what I want.
We're kind of circling back to what we were saying before. So asking real estate agents all of the questions that are actually going to be relevant to like timeline. That's a really big one. But like I said, it's conversational. It's repeating again. It's having that conversation again, but doing this through rapport. Because if I'm just doing that, and this is why it was a terrible idea before, so sorry for bringing that off track, trying to do a role play straight away, because you're right, I was firing those at you, Joe. But if you and I were just chatting and I was on the phone to you and just having a good yarn, the whole dynamic of it shifts. And unless you've got your guard up that whole time, you're more likely to actually give me some more of that information.
So as a buyer, one of the things that I, think of is like, you get old Uncle Gary in because he's, been around the block. He's got 3 properties in his portfolio. He's been doing pretty good. He's a sparky by trade, but he's the perfect person to come in and just steamroll the agent. Is that necessarily a good approach to go with, just coming in hot? But it sounds like you need to actually talk to the real estate agent and bring out the story and understand where the vendor is, what they're doing. I guess that's not really a question, but I bet you see that quite a lot.
What are you going?
Well, do you see that quite a lot? Do you see someone trying to steamroll and just actually mess up a negotiation?
Yeah. Every now and then it's like protective dad that'll do it as well. And they're normally the ones at the open that they'll be banging all of the cupboards in the kitchen and kicking the wall and, oh, this is wrong. And, this is broken. And it's like, well, yeah, sure it is. It's not a brand new house. And so I might ask the question, like if I list a house that's newer, but it's in maybe like, let's say the $600,000 price range. And let's say we're sitting on the market with this one at 580 or whatever it is. Like, would you be more interested? Obviously, you're wanting something that's maybe a little bit better kept. And if they go, well, no, we can't, like 580 is our cap, I don't care what dad's saying, because he's just trying to negotiate in a bit of a 1980s style, because I know they don't have any more to spend. This is where they're buying. This is the price bracket. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. So it comes in hot. Doesn't matter.
No.
Well, particularly current market, I mean, you sort of say, well, you sort of, if you want to try and make it difficult, there's another 15 other buyers who want to pick it up, and they're less difficult to deal with.
Pretty much. And like that will change. Like this will change back to a buyer's market. It's not going to stay a seller's market forever. This is great now, but I've sold in markets where it's the opposite. You've been on the market for 2-3 months and you've got one offer, and it's not a good offer, but you work as hard as you can to bring people together. And that's where a lot of it comes from. Like I remember having an auction a little while back. It's textbook, the hardest auction you can have. It was a 60-minute one bidder auction, like
Wow.
dead set, like one registered bidder that goes for 60 minutes. But it's a team effort, and the way that you need to coordinate, you need to pause the auction, come back into it. You're negotiating with the buyer, but then like it ended up with, we had Brett Ilicic as our auctioneer. He was reading emails just to stall the crowd, like literally just reading emails off of his phone. But we ended up getting the buyer there. Like there's, yeah.
All right, let's get some really quick kind of. I'm keen to get some super quick questions out of you here, Todd. If you don't mind, is that cool?
Yeah, man, go for it.
Yeah, fantastic. Because I think there's a heap of questions that Joseph has, but what I wanted to know is what is your light bulb moment with, or what was your light bulb moment with investing? I think we might have already covered this, but I'm interested. Like, tell it to us.
To define light bulb moment, what do you mean by that? Like,
what was you're like, this is what I like buy. So let's just say buying property. Like my light bulb moment was buying my first property and actually realizing that it wasn't that hard and getting, because you have all these fears around buying property. That was my light bulb moment. So what was your sort of, okay, cool, this buying property thing actually works? What was your moment where you realized that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess it probably was when I actually revowed it and pulled the money out on that first project versus holding something for almost a decade.
Yep.
And I still made a little bit of money on it, don't get me wrong, but it was an apartment in the city. It didn't double in value. Like I had a friend who I've interviewed on the podcast as well, Dale Harvey. He's the guy from Kansas. And awesome dude. We both bought at the same time. We both bought in 2007. Whereas his property in like 2.5 years doubled in value, and mine over 10 years went up something like 20%. It's like I still technically made money, but it's a very different situation.
Massive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great answer though. It's a kind of answer that's I mean, a lot of people sort of aspire to get the reason why they get into property, but for you to actually have it happen, that must have been fantastic. Well, that must have been really cool.
Yeah. No, it sounds like the absolute opposite of what he wanted.
No. So I'm talking about the revaluation, not the property going up 20%. So I'm talking about the eyeball moment.
I mean, that's, to be honest, that what you've just mentioned there is the reason why I was interested in doing this little group that we've made over the past year, right? Is because
not so bloody little anymore. You got like a bazillion members.
Okay. It's great. It's great. It's great. 6,246. It's good. I'm not counting, but that's the problem that we constantly saw. That's the problem I constantly saw. People were just falling into this investment and going back to buyer's agents, right? I got a buyer's agent. I just gave them, I handed over the financial keys. I've said this 100 times, but I just knew that I just knew that so many more people were just getting off the plan apartments, house and land packages, and the opportunity cost is absolutely ridiculous. Your mate Dale has now got $150,000, $200,000 extra in equity, but you don't see that as a loss because of the opportunity cost. But that is the biggest thing there, that massive gap in the market of what he bought and what you bought. That's what we're trying to stop people from. I feel like we're trying to do bloody an Australian super ad here. It's like compare the pair. Like you bought this, and this is what your super's now worth. Anyway, we don't want. Anyway, so what next question? Thoughts on house and land? Joe gave me this. So I'm just reading the comments. So the next question I wanted to ask is: you've interviewed over 100 people. So and there's probably a lot of kind of common things, and also a lot of complexity. You've seen it. What do you wish that people understood about buying property?
That it's not, you can't go wrong with property. That mentality, I think, will get a lot of people into trouble because you absolutely can go wrong buying property. And even if you don't go wrong, you can still go not on the right path necessarily. Like again, rolling back to the apartment, realistically, still made money, great experience, all the rest. I didn't go wrong, but we've just outlined how I could have gone on such a better path. So I think that mentality is really an old one that needs to be washed. And Yeah, and I think people need to value scarcity more, because that's really one of the things that pushes prices up. Is as soon as something's more of a commodity, it just doesn't work the same way. And I don't want to kick apartments, because I've sold plenty, I've owned them. They actually are an amazing lifestyle. I love it, but as an investment, it doesn't make sense.
Are you going to buy a nice place at Glenelg, Todd? Is that your next purchase?
No. So if I buy a PPR, it would probably be like an older place in like Kensington Gardens. I love, like, I'm on my girlfriend's place at the moment. She's got like a 1930s bungalow, and it's beautiful. I love the old stuff, and to like redo one of these, that's what I'd like.
Reno, nice. I'll throw one more quick question at you. Is there? Oh, actually, yeah. There's two that I could have asked, but I was deciding. Is there a holy grail of property? And this is kind of, given that you've interviewed so many people, this is very appropriate. Is there a holy grail of property investing?
Holy grail. And what would this holy grail do? Like just spew out money or
exactly,
knowledge?
Yeah. Like, you know how some people are saying you have to buy capital city, and some people are like, no, you have to buy regional. Like, is there something that you've kind of, like, is that have you uncovered a secret, Todd, that nobody else knows?
No, I don't frustrate. Oh, I lost you there. Yeah. Are we back?
Yeah, all good. Yeah.
I get frustrated with diets. It's like you've got to be paleo, you've got to be vegan, you've got to be friggin' carnivore, you've got to be, and when you actually sit down and listen to each person's thing, it's like, oh my God, yes, this is the diet for me. Oh, this is amazing. And it's exciting. And it's the same thing in property. But then you pull this apart, and then you're like, oh, hold on a second. It all works individually. Like Chris Gray's built an empire doing what he does in apartments. Then you look at like Adam Maney. You had him on the show. I chatted with him recently.
I was literally thinking of just those two people for that example.
Yeah, and they're chalk and cheese. So there's no holy grail. Neither of them are doing anything wrong, and neither of them are doing like the only right thing. They're doing what works for them, which is the same as like pulling that full circle with the whole diet thing. You got to do what works for you. It's the whole reason you don't have a pizza in front of you now, Joe, because you follow a pretty strict diet.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty easy, mate. There's heaps of pizza places in Wollongong you could have hooked me up with.
I know, and it's prosciutto. Like, I know your pizza. Anything with prosciutto on it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's enough of the rapid fire. So, Joe, I want you to kind of you take the reins, mate. I want you.
Well, I'm kind of interested in, you've introduced, we say it again, 100 plus people. What are some of the key things? And it doesn't, like, I want a free for all. Like, I want a free for all. What are some of the top, I would say 3, but I really want 5, like things that you've learned from the people that you've had on. So while you have a think about that, one of the biggest key learnings I got from Chris Gray, who we were just talking about, was actually setting up a buffer, but using equity to be that buffer. So you buy, renovate a property, and then release the equity and hold that as a buffer in that property, and then save up your deposit to move on to the next one. And then you've got a little bit of leverage and a little bit of, if there is a negative cash flow one year, it can eat into that. And I really like that kind of idea of thinking like, what is the buffer for this property, and what is that amount needing to be, and how do I make sure that I get that? The way that he gets that is he has a negative cash flow property, and he allows the negative cash flow to be eaten away by the equity, which is a completely different spin on things. But what are some of the key insights that you've taken away from some of the guests that you've had?
Like I've said, Chris is obviously brilliant at what he does, but that strategy scares the crap out of me personally.
Yeah. It doesn't scare me.
No, and like I said, there's no wrong way. There's just lots of different ways. So scarcity, cash flow, add value. These are the 3 things that I really try and do it by. But it's not necessarily the scarcity for me at the moment. It's cash flow and add value. So I always look at the people that I've seen that have done the best, that have come from very humble beginnings, all seem to have added value, whether that was renovation, development, subdivision, whatever it is. But they didn't just have the market uplift. That was another thing that was sort of bolted onto it. The other thing that they've all done is it's really been about having properties, I shouldn't say all, most, has been that they're pretty damn high yielding. So when you sit back down with the bank, you don't reach that top of the staircase. That's the biggest thing. Like when I was on the phone to my broker today, I was talking about where I tap out. And I want to make sure that then with these next 1 to 2 purchases that was.
Oh no! Well,
We've
he's
lost
back.
the gold.
He was about to
Still
tell
not
us
going to
about.
tap out there, and the.
He's about to tell
Hello?
us the Holy Grail.
I lost you again.
No. Yeah, you're about to tell us the Holy Grail.
Sorry, yeah, we got
Holy
to
Grail.
you're speaking to your broker.
Oh, okay. I was going to say Holy Grail was like 5 minutes ago. Did I just black out? Okay, so got to speak with the broker about basically reaching the top of the staircase and just saying, look, what do I need to do to these next 1 or 2 properties? Because to me, that's the most important thing. Because if I can add enough value to that next one and the one after, well, then great. Then that opens us up to doing number 7, 8, 9, however many along. Whereas, yeah, if you don't have that value add, I just think your hands are in, or not your fate is in the hands of the property gods, so to speak.
Yeah. Manufacture that equity. One of the things that I think I'm going to take away from you is that don't buy the end product at all. Don't ever buy the apartment. There's nothing more that you can do with that, right? You can't subdivide it. You can't develop it. You can't add value. If it's already renoed, you've already bought the thing. You can't then add that extra tip on top because it's just not going to work because there's nowhere else to go.
Unless it's lifestyle. If you're doing it because you want to do it and it's where you want to be for the next 5, 10 years, totally different story. It was cool having a sauna downstairs and a spa and all that. Like that was a pretty awesome lifestyle.
You see, Todd, the funny thing you mentioned there about that though, don't do it for lifestyle or unless it is for lifestyle. Funnily enough, the best property investment I've ever made has actually been something that wasn't an investment. So you're thinking, how does that work, right? So a PPR,
it's very cryptic.
So PPR, right? So I didn't have my investor cap on. So we literally were buying because we said, well, like, hey, we can afford, this is an area we like, we can afford here, we're just going to buy it. And of course, COVID happened. So who would predict COVID was going to happen? But funnily enough, once I let go of so much of the numbers, and don't get me wrong, like I think it's a combination of both. But for me, once I took off the whole kind of, it has to kind of, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. Once I looked at, okay, well, what is an owner-occupied appeal, and what is, and back to your point about scarcity, where is the scarcity? And then there's a lot of scarcity because people want to live, and it's affordable, and compared to some other areas, it actually then sort of ticks so many of the investment boxes without deliberately trying to do it. So that is why I think people say that you should look in an owner-occupied area or an area where there's 70% plus owner-occupiers rather than, say, an area that's got 50% investors. Because I'm an investor, I don't want to pay more for property. I'm only looking at yield. So that's kind of, so a lifestyle asset can sometimes be one of the best investments you could make.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of rent vesting, right? You rent in an area that you want to live but can't afford to rent that lifestyle asset in. And then you purchase a property outside in a location that you can actually afford and that's going to still allow you to service that lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the only reason I've been able to do what I'm doing now is because I actually just stopped my lifestyle in the city and I was like, this isn't making me any money. And in my early 30s, moved back in with my parents. And I was like, do you guys mind having me around again? And it's despite like popular belief, it wasn't to pick up chicks and impress them by living with mum in your 30s. It was because I just got to put everything into property. Like it's that sacrifice that can really make that difference as well. And that's probably the unpopular side of it, that if you do more of that in your earlier years, your later years will be amazing. But unfortunately, I partied a bit too much in my 20s.
Hey, nothing wrong with partying. Well, you partied, I travelled and partied. So let's kind of unpack a little bit more on your journey. And I'll throw up some questions because they tie in quite nicely. And this is Adam, a good mate of yours. So he said, what's the motivation? Is it early retirement, being rich, leaving money to kids? And Hayden also asks on a similar vein. He says, do you have an end goal, or just like me, you enjoy property, so keep doing it and never see yourself stopping? So what do you want to do with your property journey?
All right, can we take one at a time? Can you put Adam's back on the screen? Just because now I'm thinking of...
They're kind of the same question. Like,
okay.
Why do you want to buy property, basically?
So I've got a plan. It's a 9-step plan. And basically it's around making sure that I can actually do what I want to do. But I've always had very outlandish goals. Something that John McGrath, I think, said once, which was brilliant, about if your goals don't get laughed at by other people when you tell them, they're not big enough. And I think that's really true. But then on the flip side, and this is where it's going to be annoying, when you tell people all of your goals, there's this little satisfaction bug that just gets kind of like ticked in your brain, because you almost get this little sense of accomplishment where people go, oh, wow, that's fantastic. And you're like, oh, yeah, it is fantastic. It's like, you haven't done anything yet. Like, what are you praising yourself for? So now I don't actually tell people the end steps, and like literally no one, my other half, my family, they don't know. The first step was basically walking to Melbourne. The next one was then riding the bike from Darwin to Adelaide. This is more so about conditioning my mind, getting myself into a place where I could look at things that seemed impossible and actually feel comfortable with making them a reality. And that's why I did 2 big things as well. That was the selfish part of me. The altruistic part of me was amazing to raise. I think it was a total like $50,000 for charity, raised for Heart Kids and Canteen. Like that's an awesome feeling as well. And then writing the book is step number 3, where this is, again, like this took me 3.5 years to write. Like I'm genuinely dyslexic. I was on a disability pension when I was a kid. So it was a huge thing that is going to then take me to that next level. Whereas then step number 4, again, it changes, but it all ends with, without spoiling the ending, but it all ends with something that I can leave behind that would just make this a better place. Like, real estate is simply a vehicle. It's about what you can have that will live on after you're dead. This feels morbid now, but that's the truth of it.
Oh, you should. I mean, a lot of successful, whatever success is, people talk about writing your own obituary before, and actually then like sort of considering, are you happy with that obituary that's been written, and then reverse engineering it. So I don't think it's morbid. It's quite smart.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things that actually kicked it off with when my auntie Rosie died, and that was actually, when you're talking about the spark. This isn't on the property investing side, but she was a property investor. She owned about 12 houses, and she was friggin' incredible. And I didn't know any of it until she died. I was sitting in St. Paul's Cathedral in her funeral, and turns out she was during the war. She held a blind woman's baby in knee-deep mud for 3 days straight. She used to be on the Today Show with Bert Newton, selling dresses and stuff. And she was an entrepreneur. She did all this stuff for homeless kids. And I was just sitting there going, holy crap, this woman's incredible. What am I doing? And like, it just planted the seed that just has never gone away. Like, Tanta Rosa is one of the reasons why I do what I do.
Thanks for sharing that, Todd. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, good on you.
I'm taking it way off property now. All right.
No. The point you hit on there that I think we should highlight is property is only the vehicle. If you get obsessed with property, like property for the sake, property is only it's literally bricks and mortar. And yes, you are providing people homes to live in, but it is a vehicle, and it's kind of, people get lost in, I own 500 properties or whatever it is. But it's, so what does that vehicle enable you to do? Does it help you to be able to cycle from Adelaide to Darwin, or does it help you walk from Melbourne to Adelaide? What does it enable you to do? What is the vehicle? What is it driving you to do?
Yeah, well, and so was that a direct question then, or
no? That wasn't a question.
So. It was a rhetorical question, and then nothing else after it.
I paused.
I really appreciate you sharing that, man. Like, this is what I like about doing this. We get real people on to tell real stories about, their lives. And I think that a lot of people don't, like, they get too involved, like a shallow and this is how you fall for these stupid traps by these idiot sharks, is because you have a shallow meaning to why you're actually doing this. If you don't have a why and why you want this ultimate goal, what is your ultimate goal? Like, yeah, I want $100,000 passive cash income, but why? Why do you want that? Oh, so I can sit on a beach. Great. You have a salary right now. Can you work from home? Yeah, I could probably work from home. Great. Go to Thailand, live there for the rest of your existence, and you could probably earn $30,000 Australian and live on a beach for the rest of your life. What is your actual why? How much do you actually need? And what are you going to do to get to that next step? And I think the people with the strongest why are the ones that keep pushing and keep pushing when it sucks. One of my favorite things to think about is, wow, this sucks right now. Think of how many people have given up at this step. Like, just thinking about property in itself, like, oh, you want more paperwork from me, Mr. Mortgage Broker? I just gave you that paperwork. You're going to have to okay, cool. I reckon about 5 people would have dropped off here. Let's go. Let's see what happens if I give him my paperwork. What else is he going to throw at me? And then again and again and again. Oh, the renovation guy, he's walked off site and stolen all the materials. Oh, I bet people would probably quit right now, but let's see what happens. And you keep going and going and going and seeing. So it's always cool. Yeah, sorry, I was just watching. Go on, sorry.
Oh, sorry, just to testament to what you're saying, this is exactly what I mean by making sure that you're hardening that part of your mind, because you're absolutely right. In property, it's just as demanding, if not more, because it's the added stress of the financial stress as well. Like my favorite movie ever is Big Fish by Tim Burton. It's awesome. And one of the lines in there is, what is it? The harder something gets, the more rewarding it is in the end. And I found that out about myself as well with walking to Melbourne. It was one of my very first, like, I don't care, this is happening. Like, just 110% commitment. And actually, do I have time for a quick story?
Mate, story time.
Yeah, cool. Story time. All right. So I was walking between Keith and Conniver. And so I just had all the blisters out of my toes, basically just scraped out by this doctor. And then the next day I woke up with this terrible pain in my knee and couldn't figure out why. So I quickly put a status on Facebook just saying, hey, anyone driving from Adelaide to Melbourne, can you like drop off a knee brace? Have I told you this story, Joe? I think
no, I didn't. Maybe you told me a story which I don't think you're going to share. But
tell the audience, Todd. Go on.
Okay, all right. I forget other people are watching this. Sorry, I got sucked into it. It's just us three chatting. Okay. Yeah. So I put this up, and chances are, not chances are, lo and behold, someone was driving from Melbourne back from Bendigo actually to Adelaide, dropped off a knee brace. Now the package didn't say don't wear this all day. All right. I wore it all day, and then when I got to Conniver, because when you're walking between Adelaide and Melbourne, South Australia is a little bit different, but Victoria, all the towns are about 40, 50 Ks apart. So I used to walk between 40 and 50 Ks a day. And I got there, and Conniver has the world's best hot chips, by the way. The Conniver Community Roadhouse, support them, buy their hot chips. They're amazing. But I'm sitting down with this bag of chips, and I go to take off the knee brace, and then I couldn't stand up. And it was just this stupid pain all through my leg. I'm thinking, what the fuck's going on? So what the hell's going on? And so I got my dad, who was a support car driver at that stage, and he ended up driving me to the Neil Hospital, where they did scans on my calves, which, fun fact, I actually apparently have an extra calf muscle, but they also revealed that I had what's called acute compartment syndrome, which we sat down with the doctor, and he was all like, oh yeah, this is like really good what you've done, but it needs to stop now. I'm like, it's not stopping. Thanks for your time. He's like, I don't think you get the severity of this. If you keep going for another day, we're going to have to basically make incisions down your calf to release the pressure. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound good, but I'm willing to do it. Let's make this happen. He's like, okay, well, for some reason, if you push past that pain, then if you go for another 2 to 3 days and we've continued to have no circulation to your foot, we're potentially going to need to take your foot. And at that point, he had my attention. I got attached to having 2 of these things. And I just kept saying all of these different things of like, well, all right, what if I hopped? What if I crawled? What if I got a bike and rode it with one leg? What if I did this? He's like, at the end of it, he's like, I can't condone you do any of these things. They're all ridiculous. However, if you're going to do one, which I can see you are going to do one of these, bike, put one leg on the pedal with one of them and just rest the other one. You do that, then that's the best of a bad bunch. And so my dad and I then drove to Horsham, picked up a $125 little rattler from Kmart, and for the next day, I actually 2 days, I actually had to ride a bike with one leg until I could then walk again, because he said you could do a 2 day rest doing it. And that just taught me that you don't walk 400 Ks with the intent of walking 800 to stop because something gets in your way. It might be serious, and it was serious. And I was a bit naive on it, but there's always something. There's always a way that you can fix it. It's just about having that dogged persistence. But that has to be driven back to what you're saying, Joe, about a why. Because if you don't have that why, then like for me before that, I'd never finished anything. I was always a serial starter. I started this, I started that, never saw it through. And this thing just clicked. It's like, this is getting finished. This is being done. And that was powerful enough to keep me going through that.
Yeah.
Story
time over. That's
let's walk Melbourne Adelaide. I kind of want to do this. Like in my head,
I do not.
I'm now aware of how hard that actually is, because in my head I'm like, oh, I've done a few hikes in my life. I've done mountains and all that sort of stuff. Like surely Adelaide, it's flat. Like it can't be that hard, right? But I think it's a lot harder than what I anticipate.
It's just pain. It's actually easy. It's just you just need to get fine with being in pain. That's all. Yeah.
Fantastic. Should we? I'd love to. We had about 7 or 8 audience questions. Because I think we're going to have a round 2. So we had 3 submitted audience questions. Thereabouts. So should we fire in some of those questions? There was one from Sophie. We've sort of spoken about this, but I think it'd be good to solidify it. What market research fundamentals do you look at before starting a reno, Todd?
So something I like to do, and this is because I'm very visual, is I'll always find out the realistic top of where I can get a revalue. And realistic top isn't what you want, and isn't how you think a valuer is going to do it. It's how, like, learn how a valuer is actually going to perceive your property. They're generally a lot more conservative. So then when you find your comps, let's say you're trying to take a property from 400 to 550, have a look at all the 550 properties, and then I'll actually go, like, okay, this is what a 550 kitchen looks like. I'll print it out and I'll then stick it on the wall there. So it's like, this is the standard we need to be comparing to, because when the valuer is looking at it, they're going to be going through core logic and going, oh yeah, it's about the same kind of kitchen, instead of going to what your standard is or what you think it's actually going to be. I think that's something really simple to do, but it's also something that keeps you on track, because I've seen too many people and talked to too many people that will go, oh, we'll get 650 for this. And whilst I'm all for like positive thinking and going like, like you lie to yourself until it becomes like a fact sometimes. And that's fine when you're doing it internally. If you're like Rocky, like I'm the champ, it's like he wasn't the champ when he was saying that to himself, but he became the champ through that. But the difference with property is there's this external factor, which is the buyer's opinion or the valuer's opinion. Doesn't matter how many times you say positive affirmations and all this shit over here, if over here they're still looking at things logically. So you need to get on that logical train as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a powerful tip.
Yeah, 100%. It's so important. It's so important to stop. Like, I feel like it's so easy to stretch yourself. You're like, yeah, well, this one over here is 600. So I only saw one of those, which was a red herring, like I don't know if it's called a red herring, but like the thing that just happened randomly. I can get that. No, there's no other 600. There's no way you're getting 600. It's going to be 550. So why lie to yourself? Like another thing that I learned from Chris Gray, take all emotion out of this. This is not an emotional game. I don't care what the place looks like. If I can get a return on investment, if I can put $1 in and get $3 out of that dollar, absolutely, let's do it. But take all your emotion out and just look at the bare facts. And it's awesome to actually visualize it, because that's just going to stick it in your mind anymore. Is what I want. Is this caboodle kitchen that I'm going to spend $3,000 on going to cut the mustard for what the area wants? Probably not. Okay, well then I need to spend more. Oh wait, now it doesn't stack up. Okay, then move on.
Don't buy the property.
Spot on. You're putting a caboodle kitchen in I don't know Sydney as well as you boys do, but let's say Mount Druitt, you're probably going pretty well. you put a caboodle kitchen into Ultimo, well, now you're probably going a little bit under where you need to be. Like it's.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we probably need to say Mossman, but I mean,
Mossman,
Ultimo is
okay.
kind
I
of
thought Ultimo was nice.
It's
I was going to say you did. I thought that was pretty good. Oh, that's
Okay.
good.
Yeah. If anybody knows the footy score, I mean, I could go and check this out. But anyway, I want to know if how badly New South Wales are destroying Queensland. The other, I just wanted to generate some. So you've already answered some of these by saying that you don't really sort of publicise it. But one thing that Hayden wanted to know is of his many multi-part questions is what LVR do you ultimately want to be comfortable with?
Well, right now, I'm a bit more of a risk taker, I suppose. So I've got part of the portfolios at 90-10, part of it's actually at 70-30 at the moment. But we're restructuring to more around an 80-20. But yeah, I believe now, and I feel like I'm in my own podcast now with what I'm about to say. This is not financial advice. Please seek independent professional financial advice from a qualified financial advisor.
Saves us from saying it.
Yeah. But I think inflation is on its way. I personally, and I could be completely wrong, but I'm looking at getting quality assets that I can add value to, that have strong cash flow, and debting myself up. So I really think that's coming.
Yeah. It's very heady at the moment. Very, very heady in all asset classes. All asset classes just going absolutely bonkers. How long can it go for?
Crypto's down, Joe. I'm not sure if you're following, but there's a lot of crypto bugs very quiet at the moment. They've sort of.
I don't understand crypto, and until someone can actually explain it to me, like when people say they're investing in crypto, it's like, good on you if you're making money in crypto, but in my opinion, you're not investing in crypto. You are speculating in crypto. And hats off to you if you can do that well, but yeah, that's not for me.
I mean, I used to think the same. Yeah. Anyway, I won't go because I had similar views, but I've changed my view on that. But I think that's for a completely different. I could explain why I think that way.
Let's talk about that later because I actually am interested in that. But yeah, I don't want to take us off.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't want to feel myself an expert, but I just So somebody said inflation is here, and I tend to agree because you've got what you call CPI, Consumer Price Index, versus asset price inflation. Like we've sort of seen in the last quarter, prices around the country have gone up somewhere between 9% and sort of 14%. So I don't quote me. I've got the actual numbers, and I will post that in the coming. But there is a lot of growth in property markets. So asset price inflation is certainly, it's not coming, it's already here. And who knows when it'll stop. But another conversation. So Crystal wanted to ask, and you saw this and you sort of held off on it. So she had two things. What you might not know too much about this, but what would you consider when selecting a property manager? And where do you find this? I mean, I don't know if you can find it anyway, but what do you look at when finding a property manager?
So two things. I want to know that their rent roll that they're actually looking after as a property manager isn't in excess. When I've seen people post before, like in property managers, that they look after 200 properties by themselves. And again, I could be wrong on this, but I don't think you're looking after 200 properties. I think you just have 200 properties on your books, because managing 200 by yourself, good luck with that. I want someone that has a rent roll that is manageable. And I also want someone that actually understands investing. And this comes back to it. It's why, like, for one of my properties, I actually use Prue Muirhead. She's been on the show a few times. Like, that woman's a superstar in my eyes. She won Investor of the Year back in like 2009. Like, I can talk to her as an investor. And she understands little bits and pieces. And her husband, Andy's a champ. Like, they know it. So if you can find someone that has a rent roll that's manageable, so you're actually getting looked after, and then
rent roll
understands investing. Pardon?
What would be a manageable rent roll? Like 150?
I'd be thinking under the 100 for one person, like one manager, because I think hundreds and hundreds on one people. You think about that. How many phone calls are you making, like, physically in a day?
Yeah, that's I mean, This is the hardest thing about their type of business as well. Like, what is their business is to get as many properties on their books as possible without hiring as few staff members and managers as possible. It's a fine balance.
But then that's also the difference. So like I pay Peru more, and I happily pay Peru more because I feel I get a better service. I get more for my money. So it's not always about the cheap. Like when I see people go like, oh, I'll do the 4% property management. Like you're not getting property management. You're getting someone that's just collecting rent because they have to have like such a huge, I remember hearing this fact years ago. Apparently Walmart loses more each year in shoplifting than Porsche makes in profit. It's just this phenomenal amount. It's because it's scale. Like they can afford to drop the ball that many times because they've got so much scale, where I don't want to be one of those balls that gets dropped. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Such a good way to look at it. I love that. This is why I like you, Tony. You're full of stories. I love a story.
So I think we had. I think we'll sort of wrap up the question on this because I'm sure Joe's. We've probably got heaps more that we could chat about. I posted this question and tagged her in it so she knows. This is one that I think this is an amazing question. So how do people know if an agent's being truthful when it comes to Dutch auction? What are your thoughts? You don't.
Can you first tell us what a Dutch auction is?
Get everybody
like auction. Well, my understanding of a Dutch auction is like, so if I'm running a best offer buy campaign, and so I just did this. Actually, let's talk about a deal like maybe 4 months ago, so towards the start of the year, and we had about 12 offers on the property, and one of them was just an absolute standout, and it was huge. It was about sort of 50 grand above everyone else. That's a Dutch auction because, and this is one of the powers in a best offer buy campaign. It absolutely annoys me when I'm a buyer. I hate it. It's like, just tell me what you want for the property. I don't want to get involved with that. But from the seller's point of view, it's brilliant because that person, actually, can you hear the plane?
No.
Are we good?
No noise.
Yes. Okay, cool. Soundproofing is working. Anyway, the power in that for the seller was amazing because we had that control. But if that was an auction, they would have stopped bidding $49,000 ago. They wouldn't have gone up an extra 50 because they didn't need to. So to answer your question, I know it's not the answer that you really want to hear, but you don't know. You're not going to find that out. In South Australia, I can't speak to every state, but if you ask the direct question, how many offers do you have in writing? And this is something I always train all of my vendors on when they're actually purchasing. That's something that we can't lie on. So if you actually say to me, like, Todd, how many offers do you have in writing? I can't say I've got 12 if I've got 2. I've got 2. That's all I've got. And usually if you hear something like, oh, so much interest, oh, amazing, all these inspections, everything, it's just incredible. I've just gone around your answer because the actual answer is 0. Like I've got nothing in that case.
So do you have to say that as an agent? You have to tell, like there's a thing like if you're a policeman and if you ask an undercover cop if they're a cop, they have to tell you they're a cop. Is this a similar type of thing?
Kind of, but that's actually factually not correct either.
No, it's not. It's incorrect, yeah.
That'd be so bad. Imagine being an undercover cop. You're like, the whole operation's blown.
Damn it, got me again. But you have to say.
In South Australia, we're not allowed to lie. So we don't have to say, but we're not allowed to lie about offers that we have. So if I've got a situation where I've got 5, that's it. I've got 5 in writing. And press on it. If you feel that you are being taken for a ride, Crystal, and you think maybe you're the only offer, then ask the question, how many offers do you have in writing? And if they give you all these ADS, like agent doublespeak, and just keep talking around it, go back to it again. And you go, like, no, Joe, how many do you actually have in writing? And eventually it's like, Crystal's not going to let up. All right, Crystal, you're the only one.
Yeah. Can you get that in writing from them, like in a text message exchange or an email exchange? That even makes it, would you reply to something like that or would you just ignore it?
I'd reply, but I'd call. I don't want to put something like a negotiation. You can't negotiate over text.
No.
And if you can, that's an awesome episode. But I think there's so much in tone and in all this kind of stuff. It's like, if I ever have a contribution to the English language, it's going to be creating a symbol that shows sarcasm, because I'm very sarcastic with like my friends and family. Like, you can have exclamation points, all this other stuff, but it's like, try and be sarcastic in the text and you just look like an idiot.
I couldn't tell that you were sarcastic, Todd.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's a heap more questions we could cover, but I want to respect your time, and I want also there was one more from John, but were there any more burning questions people want to ask? And we'll give you a couple of minutes, because I'm sure, Joe, did you have any questions you want to ask Joe? Because I want to talk about Todd's book as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to crack into Toddy's book. One thing I just wanted to mention on the property management side of things, a little tip. It's not necessarily a question for Toddy, but one of the things that I've picked up myself is get the property manager in as early as possible. Like, if you're researching an area, you need to call not the real estate agents, call them as well, but call the property managers, right? Because if there is a geographical area of all these houses, you say, hey, Mrs. Property Manager, where should I not be having my property? And they are incentivized by getting a good leased property. So they will say, do not, whatever you do, go here. So now they've helped you with area location, because you now know, I'm not going to go here. I'm going to purchase a property here because it's a better option for me. That's if you don't know the area, right? Then bring them in and be like, hey, what is this? What is the best tenant for this asset? I've bought this property. I got an absolute steal. I'm going to renovate it. Do I need, so for instance, in my recent renovation, the real estate agent said to me, the property manager said to me, you need to put an air conditioner in here. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. She's like, okay, cool. Well, you're going to get $30 less for it because of that. I'm like, okay, that is something then is going to pay for itself very quickly. So the biggest point of tips that I can give is just listen to your real estate agent.
And can I just expand on something that Joe, you've just said there, mate, as well? The person that's not afraid to push back, the person that's not actually afraid to go, you know what, no, if you do it that way, you're probably going to lose money. You need to do this because of blah, 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 blah. There's something in the industry called buying the listing. It's when you basically just give this huge price and it's just tell someone everything they want to hear. Sign here, press hard. We've got the business. It's not a good way to do things, because your ego feels great at the time because they've left you pumped up feeling like you're going to get some winning formula, when really you need someone that's going to be the truth. And yeah, that's really, really important what you're saying there, I think, Joe.
Yeah, and it comes straight down to ego again, right? People don't want to deal with people that have this massive ego. Like, yeah, I know I'm going to get $350 for this rental. You're not. But I'm not going to tell you that because you're going to stomp around and be really difficult to deal with. So fine, sure, you can have whatever you want for it. But no, you just ask the agent, hey, look, I'm not the expert in the area. You know the tenants way better than me. What the heck do they want? Now, this is what I was thinking. Do you have 5 minutes? Yeah, I've got 5 minutes. Give me a bit of a tour. Cool. So for the renovation, I was thinking I need to totally remove that kitchen. And this is the conversation I had with my property manager. I was like, I want to get rid of the kitchen and I want to put a wall up here. Do you think, based on the size of these rooms, that a wall would be? She's like, the wall, beautiful idea. Knocking down the kitchen, terrible idea. Look at the quality of it. It's absolutely fine. All you need to do is put new handles on, paint it. It's going to look fantastic. Boom, saved money. Then she's like, okay, well, now that you're removing the dining room and cutting it in half, you need an area for people to eat. So why don't you put a bench, like a table, up along the wall? I was like, I didn't even think of that. She's like, yeah, now it makes it a dining area as well as a kitchen. These little tips and tricks, honestly, that my property manager, like who came on site, did my renovation for me. I'm not the brains behind my most recent purchase. Is literally just the person that knows the area, who's easy to talk to, because I was nice to her, friendly, engaging, and asking the right question, and didn't have an ego about it. So use and leverage property managers. They are, I think they win the award for the best people in real estate. I think there are shocking ones, don't get me wrong, but if you get a good property manager, they will do wonders for your portfolio.
Yep.
Absolutely. Words of wisdom.
Well, that was a rant. Okay.
No. Okay. Oh, you're losing me. So let's Todd. Do you have a copy of your book? Like, give us the highlights. What is it all about?
What is this book?
Have you got a copy on you?
I've got the original copy on me, which was originally called "What to Expect When Inspecting."
It's freezing.
Okay, and this, I thought that was a clever title, and I got this printed. I self-published it, and then I sent it to a publisher on a bit of a whim, and yeah, then they picked it up, and it's literally gone to print as of Tuesday, and now it's now called Australia's Home Buyer's Guide. This is actually just a printout.
I don't like that picture. I reckon you should have told them that what's up with that?
Is that you?
Yeah, I look really red. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like that first photo. Why did they tell you how to do that photo?
Because this one is authoritative and this one is friendly. Whoop, where are we? There. They publish, like we're saying, trust the property manager. I'm trusting the publisher. These people put out books, and these are the same people that put out the Property Couch guys, the Steve McKnight's book. They published Steve Polisi's book. So I've got trust in what they're saying.
That's how he knows about it. That's Mr. Steve. I don't know what he called himself. I'm trying to remember what he called himself. But so give us the what is it all about? Like Australian property.
Ellen DeGeneres. do I really look like Ellen?
Maybe a little bit, but yeah.
So one thing I've learned in life is if someone's had a baby and they tell you what the baby name is, don't tell them it's a bad baby name. So no, mate, you do not look like Ellen DeGeneres there.
Thanks, Steve. See, that's real truth right there. There's a man you can trust.
Australian Home Buyer's Guide. What is it all about? Tell us.
Okay, so it's basically the steps involved in actually purchasing a property. So starting off, you're looking at, actually, I can even read the chapter headings here. So it's broken into 3 different sections. So building the foundation, finding the one, and then making it mine. So it's about understanding, like actually just getting started and finding a good broker. Because I think too many people, I'm all for brokers, whilst lenders obviously have their place. And sometimes going directly to the lender has its benefits. I think more people, especially when you don't know what's going on, should really go to a broker. Okay, that's again, personal opinion. Setting the budget, making sure that you're not overcommitting yourself financially. So I've just got very loose kind of templates in here to actually make sure that you're putting yourself in a position where even when interest rates do go up, because they will go up, they're not going to stay at bloody 2% forever. You're in a position where you can still keep the roof over your head in 5 years' time when the interest rates are back to 5-6% or whatever they're going to go to. Okay, then it's also about choosing the right home. I've got a few different tips and tricks in there. One thing I call beautiful, close, and cheap. And it all came from a drunken story one night with a friend in Rundle Street. And I was trying to ask him about the tips on business. And he's like, Todd, there's 3 things you got to know. Everyone wants it good, they want it fast, and they want it cheap. But the thing that most people never work out is you only ever get 2 of them. If it's good and it's fast, it's not really cheap. If it's cheap and it's so on and so forth. And one day it just clicked with me that it's the same in real estate. Everyone wants beautiful. Everyone wants it to be as close to everything they want, and everything wants to be as cheap as possible. But you only ever get 2 of them. If it's really close to what you want, it's really beautiful, it's not going to be cheap. If it's really cheap and it's really beautiful, it's probably not going to be close. You're probably moving a bit further out. And so I've developed these little sort of buying techniques to just, I guess, open up people's way of thinking about things and just really looking at it from a different angle. And then obviously tips on auctions as well. I wrote a whole chapter on auctions and the first home buyer's guide, because there's going to be a lot of first home buyers. I think this will really be able to help. And then lastly, it's about negotiating with agents. Like you have to understand at least some of the basic tricks and techniques that we will use against you. And whilst this isn't Chris Voss's like never split the difference, okay, it's not Hello House Scott Agate, but it's got some basics in there that I think should at least arm you with some stuff to not fall for that.
I was just going to say you could sum up the negotiating agents in 4 words. Talk to Scott Agate.
Yeah, he'll just do it for you. I'll take that chapter out now.
Yeah. No.
Publishers didn't like it anyway.
I'm excited.
Cool. Well, I did have to change a few of the jokes and stuff in there, but otherwise it's all exactly as it was.
Weren't appropriate, or weren't funny? Or both?
I thought they were funny, but they didn't.
Yeah, fair enough. If I ever write a book, they'll probably just censor everything. I mean, not that I'm crude, but yeah, I just think my humor's funny.
If anyone's interested, I don't know if you guys, we didn't actually talk about this beforehand, but I'm happy to give away 10 copies as well. Like I said, it's not printed yet, but once this is printed, if you guys want to, just send in your name and email address, and actually a postal address I'd need, because I need to actually physically post it to you. If you send that into the boys, then I'll get them out to you as soon as they're printed.
DM Toddy Sloan, the first 10 people to DM Toddy Sloan or Pizza and Property, because I'm more than happy for them to reach out to you directly.
Sounds good.
So put that in the text when we're done, Todd. I'm sure there'll be, and if they don't go in 10 minutes, then you can put a post up tomorrow about it. Because can I get a copy?
Yeah, of course you can.
I'll pay for it, because I'm happy to put some. I'm sure there's heaps of value in that. I think there's no further question on it. This is nearly at 2 hours, and we haven't covered a lot of the stuff that I feel we could have. And that there's people are watching us over the origin, because of course New South Wales is built in Queensland. So there you go, Terry and Braden.
Boom! Look, we've got some already. Books sold almost. Given away.
Yeah. So probably send Toddy Sloan. Actually, I don't know. Yeah,
I've read. I'm not going to lie. I haven't read the whole thing. Toddy sent me the draft when it was getting put out. He didn't invite me to write the foreword, unfortunately, but it's a very good book. I read the negotiation piece. Actually, we had a conversation before I negotiated on my property, and you actually helped me a whole heap in negotiating on this property. And then I read through the book as like a recap, and I was like, oh my gosh, am I stupid? Why do I keep falling for this trap? Why do I keep bidding against myself? Because that's what smart agents do, Joe. Read the book. It says right there, smart agents. Oh yeah, of course. Why? Of course they're going to make me bid against myself. And then you just shook me a little bit, and you're like, Joe, what are you doing? I'm like, okay, good idea. Okay, I'll stop. I'll put a timeline in place. I'll make it non-aggressive, and it worked out. It worked out a treat. So I appreciate that, mate. I owe you a pizza, huh?
You got the property, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I introduced.
Next time we come to Sydney, we'll buy for you in person.
I introduced another property. I had like the thing like under my arm showing the other property. Like I had a whole act going on, and then he's like, yeah. So what's the Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was well played. Read the book. It's free. Jesus Christ. Take it.
Well, there's 10 copies. Let's not say, there's a lot of that.
I'm not get 10. There's 10. Get one of the 10. I recommend.
They're all gone already. I think he's already got Todd's got about 50 DMs, and 5 of them are asking for the book, and 5 is asking. Yeah, anyway. So before we kind of finish off, Todd, I really wanted to. You've gone long here tonight. I know it's only only 8:45 in Adelaide, so you still got heaps of time to get to bed. There's a bit of an echo there. I don't know who it is. That might be Joe. But so I really wanted to say you've shared some stories tonight there, but I don't think we've ever heard, and these are the kind of things that people just love hearing, like a genuine kind of a person. You are the nicest bloke in real estate. So I want to thank you the time, the value that you continue to add through pizza and property as well. So thanks for coming on, and thanks for being you.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate being here.
The audience loved it. So many comments, so much laughter.
Yeah, there's heaps. I've just got my phone down here.
It's got about 15 messages, I'm sure. So Joe, I want you to kind of let's finish off strong, Joe. Before we ask the final question, Joe.
Oh, before we ask the final question. Second, we'll have a final question, then a final statement. But obviously, the most important question of them all, Todd, what is your favorite burger?
Jesus, that wasn't in the script.
Wasn't expecting that. My favorite burger. I don't really eat burgers much anymore. It would probably have to be from Fancy Burger here. There's a mushroom and blue cheeseburger.
Mate, that sounds amazing. I want
Yeah.
one. Can you post that to me? Probably not.
So what, the ultimate burger, Ferg Burger in New Zealand, in Queenstown.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Oh, my
amazing.
goodness.
I'd like to go over there. Can I quickly share this? I got given this today, and I thought this was brilliant, and I thought this would be a cool way to sort of wrap up. This is from the CEO of Hewlett Packard and eBay. Her name's Meg Whiteman. Success happens when good people with good intentions work together over shared interest. Believing that people are basically good is what fuels most inspired individuals. Cynics and pessimists do not change the world. I liked that. And I thought that would be a nice way to wrap things up.
Very, very appropriate, because people could consider, I don't consider us rivals, but people could see it that way, which we're just some people talking about property and trying to make that industry hopefully a little bit better.
Mate, we're cleaning up. Definitely cleaning up the industry with the crazy stuff that's going on, and the way that you're creating this amazing podcast, Pizza and Property. It's just, these type of things are making a massive difference to people, everyday people that are looking to buy a property, and you're just on the forefront. Podcasts, posts, a book, like, just keep it going, man. I really appreciate it. It's good content coming from a good person. So thank you very much for taking the time, man, and everything that you do in this space. So appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, guys. Awesome.
Sign it off, guys. Let's go buy a property. Thank you. In Adelaide, through Todd.
Not through me. I'll charge you more.